Right, let's get some legal analysis now on the developments at that Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. Attorney Melusi Xulu from the Donda Attorneys joins us now to just give us more information and help us understand exactly what's been happening in court. Mr. Xulu, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Firstly, let's talk about the pointing out of one of the accused as one of the people who were on the crime scene. I don't know if maybe we are jumping the gun and asking the question on whether or not this was fair. Especially because an identity parade after such a long time since the accused were arrested was never done.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Firstly, the ID parade that was done is not connected to accused number 2. Because what is important is he's pointing him out at the dock. So there is a case law. There are many, but I'll just mention one. As Mdlonga versus the state. It's a 2010 case where it was said dock identification carries little weight unless it has been sourced in and there's an independent way of viewing the accused. So unless there are also other things that can be used, but it doesn't mean that it can be discarded completely. So I think what is important is, especially for the attorney for accused number 2, he will have to really fight hard about the dock identification. Remember, also there's also going to be a debate about whether the witness was drunk. So this is going to be interesting because there's already an argument about which saspuzile, which is there's an interpretation about that, whether he meant they were drunk or they drank beer as in past tense. So that's going to be interesting. Also, if I can just add before you ask another question, the lighting of the scene is important. Remember yesterday you said there was only the TV was on, but there was no lights. So that is also going to be crucial. It was mentioned in an old case, which is still relevant, as versus Mthetho 1972, where they counted a lot of factors like the light, the visibility, the proximity of the witness close to the accused, and whether there was any identification party. So I think it's going to be a case law that the defense is going to mention when it's for heads of argument about the whole issues of identification.
And of course, you know, TT Tobane, starting with his cross-examination, he's put quite a lot to the witness, like I was discussing with my colleague Slindelo Masigani. She says that she believes that Tobane is trying to paint Madlala as somebody who will do anything in exchange for money, after having him admit to the court that he was paid to form part of that documentary that was released just before the trial began earlier this year, right? But the fact that he then says to him that I put it to you that you accepted money or you were paid to testify in this particular trial, but the man was subpoenaed, by the state to testify. So is this an allegation against the state as well, to say that the state bribed him to be there?
I don't think it's basically against the state, although I didn't check, but I think when I checked Twitter, just browsing through what was said in court, he said he was paid by the Netflix producers or production company. So I think he also mentioned that he could, because it was his spare time, he needed to be paid. But for court purposes, unless you are an expert witness, you are not paid for testifying. You are only your transport arrangement, or maybe if you need to buy a ticket like it was done for him, that will be paid by the state, but not to testify. I don't think that will be. Maybe I don't think that's the approach that the attorney was saying. I think he's just saying he's a person, if there's anyone who wants him to do something, he will accept it. But I don't know whether he's trying to say maybe one of the people who might be suspects other than the accused might have paid him to not tell the truth. That will unfold as we go through the case.
Okay, maybe that's what he meant, because what he said, it was two different issues. He first established that Madlala was paid to form part of the 1010 production, and then he went on to say, and you also were paid to testify today. But let's talk about the fact that Titi Tobane also says that Madlala was coached in his testimony. Isn't this what always happens between a person who's supposed to testify and the person who's leading his evidence in chief? Isn't that a meeting that always happens between an attorney and someone who's going to take the stand?
Yeah. When I was a prosecutor, I used to make sure that I meet the witness, I read the statement, and if there's anything that I need to understand, I'll ask him. So there's no wrong thing about preparing for the testimony. But what is wrong is where one maybe might try to kind of assist the witness not to put lies on the stand or something like that. Maybe that's what the attorney is trying to drive, that maybe that the state might have pushed him to be coached to not tell the truth or something like that. But it will be clear as we come back after lunch exactly what he means.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, especially when Zandile Mshololo also continues with her cross-examination. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Xulu. Melusi Xulu, an attorney from Donda Attorneys.